Good Friday afternoon, YouTube. This is Tired Metalhead Weatherman. Hope you guys, if you've gotten off work, are having a good start to the weekend. And if you're still at work and waiting to get off at the time that this video is being made, hope you push on through and get a very nice, relaxing weekend. Before I get into the video, I want to say thank you guys for the last few videos. I know this most recent video doesn't have like a lot of views, but between May 31st and June 1st alone, that's 210 views for a small channel. That's pretty crazy. So to anyone that's enjoyed it, especially, thank you, and anyone that's new to the channel, I'm happy to see that I'm happy that you've made your way here, I should say. Well, we post almost daily here, and usually on Fridays, including today, we're doing a weekend forecast, and this is for everybody. So if you like what you see, feel free to sub, feel free to drop a comment, like, whatever you'd like. But appreciate you. Main thing is that I appreciate you being here. Without further ado, though, without any delay, let's get into it. We're gonna look at today first, real quick. We got three slight risk areas. Excuse me. We have one in the western central plains. We have a severe thunderstorm watch and a few severe thunderstorm warnings in Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. This was issued about 54 minutes ago, so this is pretty fresh. This marginal risk on this part of the country extends into areas even like Dallas and Fort Worth. Fumbling my words, but that's not the only one we got. We got another marginal and slight risk area that is encompassing the southeast, mainly towards the southeastern coast, just about north of Charleston, and maybe even towards Wilmington. We have a slight risk area for severe thunderstorms, mostly damaging winds and scattered hail threat. And then the real area of interest is right here in southern Florida, as we have this potential tropical cyclone working its way closer and closer towards Florida. The impacts are starting to get felt, and right on to where that right front quadrant is where we tend to have the possibility of there being a potential spin up, quick tornado. So that area is going to be watched really closely. There's always a slight risk. As the storm probably gets closer, I wouldn't be surprised to see a tornado watch, but I'm not too sold on it either. If you know what I mean, it's kind of one of those deals where you just don't know for sure. The circulation isn't really organized, so it's a little up in the air as far as I'm concerned, at least. But let's take a look at the next couple of days here, get an idea of any severe threats that we may have. And we do have a severe threat for tomorrow. It's a minimal tornado threat, mainly towards central Nebraska. We'll have to watch that real close. And of course, as I mentioned before, as this storm draws closer and closer to southern Florida, we'll have to watch this area for any potential quick spin-ups. I think they'll be on the low. I think those numbers will be pretty low, but you can never tell. Some tropical systems, tropical storms tend to be very prolific tornado producers, where others will produce none at all. So you always have to watch these things. Wind threats, a little bit more significant in the central plains. We're looking at Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma being in play. Of course, same thing is going on in southern Florida. So anywhere in Miami, Melbourne, Fort Myers, and even Orlando, I wouldn't rule you out. Just keep an eye out. Now, the hail threat I'm expecting to be exclusively towards the Midwest. 5% area for the same areas that I just mentioned for the hail threat, or wind threat, I should say, excuse me. We got Oklahoma City, Fort Sill, Norman, Tulsa, Woodward in play, and then in Kansas we got Liberal, Wichita, and Garden City, Colby, And then we have McCook, Omaha, Lincoln, and Norfolk in play for some potential hail. On day 3, we're looking at Sunday, and the area doesn't really change too much. It kind of extends a little bit further to the east. Now we have the northwest corner of Arkansas in play, but for the most part, the area hasn't changed too much. Other than that, we have a pretty big area of a general thunderstorm with. Wow, I cannot speak today. General thunderstorm risk. Pretty much going from coast to coast here. From the northwest coast all the way to the southeast coast. Anywhere in between, you guys actually seem like you're going to be okay on Sunday. Of course, we'll have to check this out. We'll have to check over this and see if this will change. Now, let's talk about hurricanes real quick before we take a look at what our radar could look like over the course of the weekend. Here is potential tropical cyclone 1. It has not been given the name Alex yet for one reason. This X is marking where the central point of low pressure is. However, for it to be considered a tropical system, it needs basically this kind of cloud activity swirling around in a circular motion on all 4 parts of the storm. And in some parts right here, it's dead calm, I would say. Next to no clouds. So they're not going to get, so the guys at the Hurricane Center, they're not going to give this the name Alex and call it a full-on cyclone or a full-on tropical cyclone. Does it have time to organize into one? Yes. Will it organize into one? Hard to say. This thing has sped up since the last time I looked at it. When I looked at this last night, I saw 5-6 knots. It's slowly increasing in speed. The intensity has not changed. We're still at 40 mile per hour winds. Pressure has remained just about the same. Maybe it's gone up just a little bit. We're at 1,003 millibars. And the forecast track has not changed. We keep seeing, and then over here, this one area, we have that 10% chance of development over here. Excuse me. This area has been flickering on and off for I don't even know how long now, but even if this does develop, which it has a low chance of doing so, this is a very hostile environment for hurricanes. This will most likely be a fish storm and probably will die out at sea. Now that that's been said, let's take a look at what our temperatures could be for the weekend. Somehow we've gone out pretty far already. For most of the country right now, I'd actually say a lot of people are baking right now. Unless you end up getting one of those summertime thunderstorms and maybe a couple of spots here in the Northeast, everybody's pretty hot. You see the 70s stretching all the way up into even the Northeast here, and 60s even making making its way up to the furthest corners of the Northeast, even in the mountain ranges. Only at the highest elevations will it actually be anywhere close to cold. So we'll move this along. We'll get into the night. We'll still be pretty warm for a lot of us, especially towards the south. We're going to have lows. Some of us, a fair amount of us may not even get below 70 tonight, which is going to be pretty rough because it's also very humid, especially around the Gulf states. Up towards the Midwest and the Northeast, it's a little bit more comfortable for you guys. You guys are getting into the 40s and 50s. Might be chilly for some of you in the morning, especially towards the Great Lakes region. You might have a few low 40s, maybe even a 30 sneaking in there. And then when we get into the morning, we're heating right back up, and nobody seems exempt. This does have there's a really small little patch here where temperatures don't really seem to go up. Right around the northern plains and around Minnesota and Wisconsin and towards the Great Lakes region. There is a little bit of cold air expected to be funneling in soon. I don't think it's this soon. This might be a little thing going on with the NAM right now, but we'll have to watch that closely. It would be nice if there was a cool down coming. It would be nice if it would get down to my area because I'm a landscaper and I work outside. Today was rough, and it wasn't even as hot as yesterday. That's the crazier part. So we go into Saturday night. It gets a little bit cooler even further to the south, so it does seem like there is a cool down trying to come. But by Sunday, unfortunately, heat comes right back. But there is a little bit more cold air trying to build around the northeast. I see it holding up a little bit better. And then going into Monday morning, I mean, I think for pretty much all the country, we're going to be above average on both high and low temperatures. But let's take a look at what the radar could look like. So right now, a little bit out of date for this, but the NAM takes a little bit longer to update as well. So it's kind of touch and go with this model. This is right about the time. This is actually about right. This is right about the time that we would be looking at, maybe just a little bit before. You can clearly see potential tropical cyclone 1 making its presence felt in southern Florida, bringing in a lot of heavy rain, squally weather. Meanwhile, we have a few thunderstorms that have popped up or that will be popping up, which have already popped up around the west central plains here. See a little bit of activity towards Fort Worth. See a little activity towards the southeastern coast. And also a little activity even into Wyoming and Montana here. Some rain for the northeast. Dreary weather, nothing new for you guys. Or at least that's what the stereotype is. And then we go into Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon. Here is our tropical cyclone right here. Here's our next potential troublemaker here. Not a very robust low pressure here, but it could stir up some severe weather. Meanwhile, there's a lot more. Meanwhile, there's a very interesting look right here towards again Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho here. Could be a couple of stronger storms that pop up. I don't really think the environment's favorable for it, but you never know. And then we take a look into Sunday morning. We get a little bit of rain and unsettled weather into the Great Lakes area. Get some rain into the Dakotas region. More active weather around Montana and Wyoming. Here's our tropical cyclone moving off, and most likely moving off to sea at this point. You might see a little bit of increased wave heights and rip current alerts around the East Coast, but we will also be watching the Central Plains once more for severe weather. I do expect later next week the threat will start to increase once more. But this is all I got for you. This has been our weekend forecast for the 3rd of June through the 5th. But until the next video, this has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman, and I will see you on the next one.